Good afternoon. It's Mark Anthony here, as you can see on the screen that way, down there somewhere. Mark Anthony here at Demolition News, back with a couple of updates on the collapse at Swingate House over in Stevenage earlier today. For those of you that missed it, the building was undergoing demolition. We know that there is a Kane Group high-reach excavator on the job. It is our understanding that the project is being carried out by a Kane Group, but we've got no confirmation of that. But that's what we're led to believe, and that would certainly explain the presence of the high-reach excavator there. Since I was online earlier today, we've received a whole heap of updates from people, local people, via Twitter, via Instagram, and various other places as well. So I thought I'd pop back on now and just give you a bit of an update as we know. Gary Muirhead, good afternoon, Gary. Good of you to join us. Sorry, it's in less than perfect circumstances. Before I go back over to take a look at the latest news headlines from which I think is the Comet or Hertfordshire Live. I've got, as I say, I've got some footage that's been sent to us remotely from the site itself. So let me show you exactly what it is that we're looking at the site as we speak. That's what the site looks like. As you can see, there's the Kane Group high reach, but here is probably the more telling footage. This was shot by an amateur passing by.
You can ask him.
Okay, so that's one film that we've seen. We've had another comment here from Gary. What's happened? I tell you what, before I actually answer that question with a bit more detail, let me show you the other film that we've received, which does really show the extent of the collapse. Here you go. Okay, so you now know as much as I do in terms of video coverage. Let me go over to here and I'll bring you up to date. Just to let you know the way that this all came about, my phone lit up around about 11:30 or thereabouts today to say that there had been a catastrophic collapse over in Stevenage at a place called Swingate House. I'm looking now, what am I looking at? Hertfordshire Live, the website for the local area there. Live updates at Swingate House in Stevenage collapses with police cordon in place. Emergency services are on the scene and are urging members of the public to avoid the area. I'll go through that a little bit more in just a second, but what I will tell you is we did find some reference to this going back a little way, and apparently going back probably 2 years, and the demolition of Swingate House, which is very close to the Westgate car park in Stevenage. It was being demolished as part of a £1 billion transformation of the town centre. That's why the demolition was taking place. There has been some suggestion, and I'm going to refer to this on my phone. I'm not going to name names because it would be wrong to do so, but we were given a heads up earlier today that another demolition company had apparently intended to do this project on a top-down basis with blocks on the roof, because there was some concerns about the flimsy precast construction. Judging by the fact that there is a high-reach excavator on the job there, it looks like that process was subsequently superseded, and as a result, we've now got a collapse. So let me take you through what we do know so far. A police cordon has been erected in Stevenage following the collapse of a derelict building, Swingate House, which is currently under demolition, which is in the town centre. Stevenage Council is urging members of the public to avoid the area, with Hertfordshire Police and Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue Services on the scene. The fire service statement says at 10 a.m, Hertfordshire Fire Service Control received a call to state that Swingate House at Swingate in Stevenage had collapsed. Please avoid the area where possible. Many resources are in attendance and safety is our priority. Hertfordshire Police then added, we're currently assisting at the scene of a building collapse in the Swingate area of Stevenage. A cordon has been put in place as a precaution and people are asked to please avoid the area at this time. Hertfordshire Police remain on the scene but have confirmed that no injuries have been reported, so there is some good news there, and they will continue to keep us updated. According to planning documents submitted to Stevenage Borough Council, the building was being dismantled to make way for a new development. The demolition notice approved last year detailed the future use of the site, and the proposed demolition works are to clear existing buildings, foundations and hard standing from the site in preparation for future developments of the SG1, I guess that's Swingate SG1 master plan. A new residential building with associated central courtyard has been proposed for the site. The site will also include publicly accessible open space, private amenity space, and the proposed arrival square pedestrian area. These works of redevelopment would be subject to a separate planning application. So you now know as much as I do. As far as we can tell, Gary, no need for prayers. It does look like nobody's been hurt. Certainly, when you look at the video, which I will replay again in just a second, it looks. It obviously suggests that the rubble from that collapse has gone out into the road, but on the plus side, it looks like the hoarding actually goes right up to the edge of the road. So as far as I can tell, nobody was likely to be walking on that side of the road or driving on that side of the road either. So that's probably safeguarded there. It also looks like the building has fallen outwards rather than inwards towards any demolition workers that were on station at the time. So let me show you that video again. I'm going to just amend this very quickly to take that off, and then I'll show you the video again. If anybody is watching this and they know any more, or if they're actually in Stevenage and have got any more information, we would love to hear from you. But here is the video that shows the scene again. As you can see, there is quite a large police presence there. As I said, we did have a photograph that was sent to us literally within minutes of the incident happening. That's what it is. As you can see, that's the other side of the hoarding. I'm not sure how clearly you can see that, but the high reach excavator there has clearly got the name Kane written up the boom. And there are suggestions that it is a Kane Group project. I'll reiterate, we don't actually know that for sure at this point in time. All we are doing is reacting to the news as we get it. I'm going to throw over to, there is another live update website just to see if there's any more updates there. No, it doesn't look like that one's been updated at all. I would imagine that the local press are struggling to keep up with developments there, particularly as they're not actually allowed to be particularly close. I am going to change the view now. Let me take this away. And if I share the screen again, I've got another image to show you. If you bear with me for 2 ticks. There is another view of the collapse, as you can see there. This is from the Comet over in Hertfordshire and local newspaper there, and you can see the extent of the collapse. Again, very fortunate that it doesn't look like anybody has been hurt in the process of all of this happening. This will ring bells for many people, I think, in the UK demolition industry. We had a number, and I can't actually remember whether it was 3 or 4 scaffold collapses back in 2019. I think the first one was in Reading. I think there was another one in London, certainly one up in Nuneaton as well. And as a result of that, back in June, July 2020, the National Federation of Demolition Contractors actually issued some guidance on the safe use of scaffolding on a demolition project. In actual fact, they did it in conjunction with McGee. And McGee was the company whose site was host to the collapse on near the station at Reading in Berkshire, Reading. So yes, this does all feel awfully familiar, I'm afraid. No, sorry, just had this is where I struggle, because I've got messages coming in from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram, from YouTube, and via text as well. So I'm constantly monitoring, and for once I've actually gone live without turning my phone off, just in case anybody does call with any updates. Let me throw back. I'm going to go back to this video because it does show another view of exactly what was happening there earlier today. So here's that video again.
You can ask him.
As I say, I'm doing this as literally as breaking news, and I've just had a message. I won't name who it was sent from, just in case he doesn't want to be named. But I've had a message here that reads, try looking at a Facebook group called Old Memories of Stevenage 2. There are videos of the start of the demolition a week ago. You will see that they have put up scaffolding on the northeast and west sides and are demolishing from the south side inwards. The problem is that stability of the building and the walls appears to be provided by the lift shaft at either end, with the floor plates stabilizing the walls. Unfortunately, the north wall has ended up unrestrained and the scaffolding was unable to support it. My theory anyway. That is from I'm not going to name names, but it is from somebody certainly within the local area and certainly within with some expertise in the subject as well. So that's literally just come hot off the press. Now, again, because I am live and because I can't pick up the telephone and actually speak to anyone while I'm doing this, I am having to rely upon third-party information right now. And that information is coming in thick and fast. Let's take another look. I'm going to take that back out of there. Bear with me for 2 ticks, and I'm going to throw over to another share screen just to see if Hertfordshire Live has provided any sort of update. If you're just joining us, this live stream, completely unplanned, completely unscripted, is in reaction to the fact that there has been a collapse of a building called Swingate House in Stevenage. There is a police cordon in place. We understand there are no injuries, which is fantastic news. That's the magnitude of what it is we're looking at right there. I'm assuming you're seeing that. Yes, you are. I will take you back through the news again. Oh, excuse me. A police cordon has been erected in Stevenage following the collapse of a derelict building, Swingate House, which is currently under demolition in the town centre. Stevenage Council is urging members of the public to avoid the area, with Hertfordshire Police and Hertfordshire Fire and Rescue crews on the scene. As I said earlier, there is no news of any injuries. In fact, the latest timeline there, Stevenage's MP wants a clear explanation. Shopping centre car park forced to close and no one injured. Those are the latest updates that I've got. Not entirely sure what happened there. I'm just trying to see if there is. We've followed up with Hertfordshire Police to find out what the current situation is. Stevenage, below is the force's original statement. And that statement reads, we're currently assisting at the scene of a building collapse in the Swingate area of Stevenage. A cordon has been put in place as a precaution and people are asked to please avoid the area at this time. That's what the aftermath looks like. There is a link that I can't unfortunately play it. According to this, the demolition order was granted just last year. The derelict building was granted a demolition order by Stevenage Borough Council in November 2021. Work was already underway to dismantle the building, but as of this morning, the front of the exterior has collapsed. The Swingate area is the main route to Westgate Shopping Centre car park in the town, and shoppers can't access it at the moment. A statement from bosses at the centre said, following the collapse of Swingate House, the Westgate car park will be closed today. Now, this is the bit that I couldn't find before. Stevenage's MP, a guy called Stephen McPartland, has taken to Twitter to voice his concerns following the news of the Swingate building collapse. As he says here, a lot of shock locally with the collapse of Swingate House being demolished as part of Stevenage Borough Council and Mace Group project. Just to point out, we do understand that Mace Group is the principal contractor on the job. Stephen McPartland, the MP there, is demanding a clear explanation how this could have happened, and I'll be asking the Health and Safety Executive to investigate. Good luck with that, I say. While we await more details from the council, here is the original statement they published on Twitter at 10:44 a.m. Please stay away from the Swingate House area. The building that is being demolished has collapsed. The police are at the location and surrounding roads have been closed. We are assessing the situation and our priority is to keep everyone safe. We will keep you updated. Apparently, Hertfordshire Live have actually contacted Stevenage Council for comment. Thought that it's understood that representatives will be already on site assessing safety in a hands-on fashion. So that brings you pretty much up to date. No real development since the last time I was live an hour or two ago. But as I say, we do have some footage that shows the extent of the collapse. I'm going to play that for you again just to not to stretch out the broadcast. I don't want to stretch it out any longer than it needs to be, but because the news is breaking and because we are still receiving messages, I do think it's worth keeping on air for a little bit longer. Bear with me 1 second and I will throw this up on the screen again. That pretty much brings you up to date. Now, I did mention earlier there had been a bunch of scaffold collapses back in 2019, and we did have a document produced for us at Demolition News that shared a bit more detail. Excuse me 1 second. excuse me, a bit of a frog in the throat today. We did have a report that was done by a demolition engineer, an anonymous demolition engineer, who looked into the Reading collapse. And I will dig that out because I do think it is very pertinent to today's events. What I'm going to do, I'm going to put that video up again. I'm going to go and fetch my iPad because it's next door. The iPad should have access to that report. I can then send it to myself and I can give you a link. So while I'm playing this video, just bear with me one more time and I'm going to play some more video. I'll be back in a second.
You can ask him.
Now, I will reiterate, I'm just trying to work my iPad while I'm speaking to you. I will reiterate once again, it is our understanding that it is a Kane Group demolition project. No confirmation. We do know that Mace is the principal contractor there. We've had that confirmed and double confirmed a couple of times now. So we know that. We also understand there are no injuries, so that's good news as well. Just bear with me 1 second. I tell you what, while I'm doing that, I'll play the other video and just to keep you busy, and then I'll come back with details on this additional bit of information. Right, I have found the link. It's called Reading Scaffold Collapse. Obviously, this relates to the collapse in Reading back in 2019, and it was a project or a collapse that sparked a great deal of interest and follow up as well. So I'm just going to send this to myself, get that on the screen, and then I can actually share it with you in just a second, because again, we don't fully know the circumstances quite yet. Chances are the circumstances will have been very, very different, but I've sent that to myself, and hopefully when that arrives, I will be able to direct you to it so that you can take a closer look at that and possibly get some more information while we're doing that. Again, I will reach out to anybody that is watching this. If you are around the Stevenage area and you have heard any more about what's going on in Stevenage, or more specifically at Swingate House, we'd love to hear from you. I don't normally do this, but my telephone number is 07973 465 166. If you'd like to give me a call, I'll happily take the call. The phone is right by my side and it is live as we speak. So if we need to bring in any calls, we can certainly do that. Don't actually have the technology set up to be able to blast you onto the airwaves, but we can certainly take a chat with you, and I can explain to viewers exactly what is going on, or whatever you'd like to say. Still waiting for that email to arrive from myself. Not an ideal set of circumstances, and unfortunately that you can't prepare for these things. No, it still hasn't arrived. I may have to follow up with that a bit later on. So just to recap very, very quickly, and in the vain hope that that email does actually arrive. Earlier today, just after 10:30, Swingate House in Stevenage collapsed whilst undergoing demolition. We know there are no injuries. Obviously, we've seen from the video that a lot of debris and scaffolding has actually spilled out into the street, but there's no injuries. There were no parked cars there. It appears there were no pedestrians either, which is very, very fortunate indeed. Still not seeing this damned email. I wish there was another way that I could share it, but it's proving somewhat problematic, I'm afraid. Let's see if I can do something else. No, it doesn't look like it. Let me try. I'm going to try it one more time because I do think it is very, very relevant indeed. Anybody that was involved in the demolition industry in 2019 will recall that there was a spate of demolition scaffold collapses. As I've already mentioned, there was the first one was in Reading. Thankfully, nobody injured there. Then we had subsequent ones in London and up in Nuneaton as well. There has since been, I think it was in July 2020, that the National Federation of Demolition Contractors issued some guidance on the safe use of scaffolding within the demolition arena. They did that in conjunction with McGee Group. McGee Group were actually the contractor involved at Reading. Still can't see this damned email. I do apologise. I wish there was another way to get it off my iPad, but there really isn't. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to try one last ditch attempt and see if I can find it another way. No, still no sign of it at all. I will have to follow up on that, I'm afraid. I'm not entirely sure we're going to get much in the way of any additional news. I think now that obviously it's not, if the initial reports are correct that there are no injuries, then this becomes a rather more relaxed affair. Obviously, the health and safety executive, I would imagine, will start to pore over exactly what has happened there. So I again, because it's not an emergency situation as such, my guess is that there will be a slightly more relaxed approach. One thing that I am slightly concerned about is the condition of what remains of that building. As we've already said, we've been told that the construction was flimsy, which is not a great place to be, and obviously it looks like the center of the building, or part of the center of the building, has fallen out. My guess is the two ends, as one of our correspondents has said, the two ends will probably be where the lift shafts are. The lift shafts normally add the additional strength and rigidity, which has probably kept the ends up, but I would imagine that the local fire and rescue people, and obviously the demolition contractor involved, if it proves to be Kane Group, will be very keen to get that made safe to avoid any further collapse, ideally before the sun goes down and when the whole thing becomes a little more problematic again. Yeah, I'm going to give it one last chance to have a look over at Hertfordshire Live, which is that if you are close to a computer, Hertfordshire Live, they are doing live updates. Doesn't look like they've updated much since I last looked. No, it doesn't look like it at all. No, it looks as if we are as up to date as we possibly can be. If I do hear anything more, I will come back on. I will also dig out this article about Reading, and I will add that as a further bit of information for anybody that cares to take a look at that. But that will probably do me for now. As I say, if I hear any more, I'll come back on. But if not, I'll be back 10 a.m. tomorrow, where I'm sure this will be a major discussion point on the Breakfast Show, which is every weekday morning. If you're not familiar with the Breakfast Show, it is a live video show dedicated to all things demolition and construction equipment. I thought I had the running order for tomorrow's show all lined up and ready to go, and then this happened. So it looks rather like this will be our lead story tomorrow. So by then, hopefully, we'll have a bit more information, and we'll most certainly have some more reference material for anybody that needs it. That will do me for now. Have a great day, everyone. If you are in any way involved in that, I hope you're safe and well. Hope your family are safe and well. Let them know that you are safe, because I'm not sure if this has actually made it onto the national news, but I would imagine it will do. If not, if it hasn't already, it will do at some point. So if you were on the site or you work close to the site, let your friends and family know that you're okay and safe and well. And we'll be back at some point as soon as we know more. Many thanks indeed.